Hey guys, welcome back. I wanted to continue my discussion on how a hair transplant procedure can enslave you. And another issue would be density, the density of the hair transplant itself. The fact that it's see-through, um, what happens with most young guys is they're going to want to keep going back because they're trying to get rid of that see-through look. And if you look at the average density of hair on someone's head, for the most part, now I'm just using an average number, it's going to be about 80 follicular units per square centimeter. The best most physicians can plant is about 40, about half, if you're lucky. And so the problem comes in where these young guys are looking in the mirror and they're not seeing that 80, they're seeing 40. 40 is see-through. But the problem with that is, regardless of the amount of donor hair available, for the most part, it's surgically impossible to increase the density. I mean, a doctor can go back in there if they've already planted 40 per square centimeter. Let's say it all grew. If you try and squeeze more units in there, in between those grafts, there's a good chance they're going to kill off the existing grafts, or at least some of them, because they can't really see what's underneath the skin, so they don't even know where they're cutting into. And so there's a good chance you'll end up with either less density or the same density. And so that becomes just a what's the word I'm looking for? They're just spinning their wheels, these young guys. They're going in and out, and the density never increases. And in the meantime, they're depleting their donor, and it's costing them a lot of money. And before they realize that what they're trying to do is impossible, it's too late. There's really nothing they can do about it. They can't really sue because they're getting exactly what they paid for. If someone doesn't give you the information, that's different. So now we're going back to marketing fraud. So it's up to the doctor to tell you that, listen, this is probably the best we can do without killing off the existing grafts. And if they don't do that, then you probably have a case. But the cases are always marketing fraud. Okay, and so getting back to enslavement. Okay, so just speaking from my own experience, another issue was, okay, so with a hair transplant, most guys need to use concealer. And most especially guys that have had strip procedures, sometimes that has to be, concealer needs to be used in that area, because the strip scars are not going to be pencil thin. If the hair, if the hair moves around and it loses its style, the strip could be revealed. And so a lot of guys are going to hold that fear that, well, who's behind me, and can they see the scars that I have on my head? And so if you're using concealer in that area, what happens when you go to the dentist? The dentist has a nice white piece of cloth over the chair, and you're going to lean your head back. And what do you think is going to happen? There's going to be concealer all over it. And so, how do you explain that? I mean, you understand what I'm saying? And once you become aware of this, you might be hesitant in going to a dentist. And the same would apply with a doctor. I haven't been to a doctor in well over 30 years. I have no need to go to a doctor, because the hair transplant experience was a good lesson for me. So I realized what doctors were all about. So I made health a focus, And so I don't need medications. I don't need doctors. It's not an issue for me. But if you need to lay down on that doctor's table with that white sheet on there, once again, you're going to have the same issue of concealer, regardless of where it is on your head. It's going to stain the doctor's table. How do you explain that? You have to explain that to the doctor, or you walk out. What do you do? Another issue with strip scars that I can relate to is being on an airplane. So if I'm laying back, what happens is if you have a strip scar, the hair tends to separate if you're laying down anywhere. So if you're laying down for long periods of time, you have to check the back of your head with a mirror, because you don't know if that area is kind of separated or not, the hair, because the direction has changed. And so you can't really rest back on an airline seat. You can, but you got to really be careful, because you don't want to. It's not like you have a mirror handy and you can see what the back of your head looks like. Here's something that happened to me while I was working. So I'm working with a lot of females, and one had noticed that what she thought was dirt on my forehead, so she wants to just kind of, rub it off. And I just immediately kind of reacted and just put my head back. And then she explained, well, she had dirt on your head. I just wanted to wipe it off. Problem was, it wasn't dirt. And so it was concealer. And so I had to look in the mirror and I wiped it off. So I came up with the explanation that I was pouring concrete and it was dust. But you see how these can all become issues? Things that you've never even really thought about. There's more. I'm gonna continue this this part of the discussion, and I'll just break it up into different videos. Think long and hard. This is guys that don't have a procedure, they don't deal with any of this. They're free to do whatever they want. They want to roll the window down in the car or press the power button, whatever. No big deal. If you had a hair transplant and everything needs to be in place, I guess turn on the air conditioner. But there's kind of like a freedom that comes with being able to roll those windows down and have the wind blowing through the car, or get into a convertible. Do you think you can get into a convertible with a hair transplant? Maybe there are a few people. I'm not saying it's impossible, but a good majority of young guys that have this procedure done, that's over with. And so you have to really think about, it's not that you have to think about it, you have to be given this information. Now you can think about it, because no one's going to tell you. Okay, I'll continue this. I'll do another video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. If you have a comment or a question, please feel free to post it. Like I've said before, once the marketers get wind of all this and actually the direction this is all going, this is a part of something a little bit bigger. The comments will probably get very nasty because they don't want you having this information. Because with this information, it's going to, for a lot of guys, it's going to change the thought process, and they're going to say, hey, wait a minute. I don't want to dig myself a deeper hole. So anyhow, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.